Where to start if you're skinny fat. So this video will ideally be as simple and as short as possible, and to answer that question in regards to you're sat there thinking, right, I feel like I'm skinny fat, there's a lot of information online, what is the next course of action I should take in order to fix this? I'm going to try and simplify it and make it as direct to the point as humanely possible. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Tom Sergi. I run the Gorilla Platoon and I get results like this, where body recomp is, to be honest, the art and the sole purpose of this very channel. So if you want to know the full ins and outs of how to fix being skinny fat, to be fair, stick around for the majority of videos that get posted about how to do so, because that's what we love to talk about on this channel. So my promise to you is by the end of the video, you'll know how to go from skinny fat to jacked, and the full process, and we'll map it out from there. So as we start, step one, the main step that we need to do is honestly understand your body type. So we see your body looks exactly like this, and you need to weigh yourself on a scale. Once we've done that, we need to analyze the ratio of body fat that you're carrying to muscle tissue. We then need to understand the time frame of where we need to get to, put you on a certain amount of calories, and then on a certain training split. So let's roll exactly into that. So as we assess your body fat, the best means that you can do so at home is honestly going to be to compare yourself to pre-recorded photo charts that you can find online, like this one, for example, and that will give us a rough sign of where you're currently sat at. I believe the photo we just had up on screen, the guy is probably sat around about 25% body fat, and because it's an image off the internet, I don't know his exact weight, but I'm going to give him a weight. You will obviously know yours because you'll have weighed yourself in. So this guy's 80 kilos, weighing in at coming in at 25% body fat, with a lean mass of 60 kg and an RMR of 1,666. So we know this guy, in order to get to a healthy body fat percentage, or the goal body fat percentage that you would want to get to then go into a gaining phase, it's going to be around about 10%. So for this guy to get to 10%, he's going to need to drop down to 66 kg, pulling off 14 kilos. You're going to need to work out your time frame from then on. Now, here is the tip. If you are fairly new to training and you are starting out when you're skinny fat, don't put yourself in a crazy big deficit. Go in just below maintenance, because honestly, the fact that you have not really dieted before or trained means that when you go in a slight deficit, you will burn body fat. You will change the art of the body recomp. But if you pull too many calories too early, you won't have any room for progression, and you won't have the fuel source you need to drive performance in the gym. We're not looking to just get you smaller. We're looking to develop the muscle tissue and pull off the body fat as we progress on. So that being said, you would have your RMR, and you would know how active you are within a given day. I'm going to say this guy is sat at the average 155. So this guy's maintenance calories is 2,582. We then put him into a slight deficit. So to begin with, he can go in at 2,362. So only a 200 calorie deficit. He will slowly drop body fat, and you're going to want to sit at that for 6 weeks. This will get your metabolism in a more healthy space, where you're taking on a good amount of food, a little bit less than what maintenance is, but enough to still train very hard and drive performance in the gym. So we can understand that we're still going to lose some. And even just by the fact of if you sat flat at maintenance, but you hadn't really trained and you hadn't been doing 10,000 steps each day, you would still drop because you're burning more through activity than what you were doing in the past. Simple numbers really, but it's important to mention. You would need to establish your macros, and this would be set relative to your body type. So this guy needs 144 grams of protein. This is taking his lean mass and timesing it by 2.4. You would do the same with yours. Fats is at 20% of the overall target. Now, remember, that's put in calories, which is 472. So you take 20% of this number, it'll give you an answer. Make sure you divide it by 9, because there's 9 calories and 1 gram of fat. And the rest is going to be left with carbohydrates. So we've now got your start point. We know the time frame in order to get there, and the scale weight. So the time frame I've gone for here is 20 weeks. The reason I've gone for 20 weeks is I'm trying to be very, very conservative. In the fact it will happen quicker than this. The reason I say 20 weeks is he needs to drop 14 kilos, which he could drop a kilo a week. But I'm going to be uber critical and say for the first 6 weeks where I sat him just below maintenance, he didn't drop anything. You, in reality, you will. But I like to manage expectations and say, let's say for that 6 weeks, you're going to sit at maintenance anyway. So then add the time frame together, that's 20 weeks. And this is your phase 1. Now, how do you know if you're progressing or not? Well, for the first 6 weeks, your main factors of progression are your ability to track all data. That's you weigh yourself daily. It's your photos weekly. It's your tracking of nutrition daily, tracking of steps, which I would start on 10,000 each day, and cardio, but I wouldn't start cardio in the first week. Maybe 2 weeks in, start 20 minutes per day. The next thing I would track, and this is a very important one, is are your numbers in the gym progressing? If they are, you are doing something right. If you don't know how to lift certain exercises, go through my channel. There's videos on how to do back exercises, chest, triceps, etc., etc. So you can find all the information on this channel to know if you are lifting in the correct manner. That's your second means of progression. And the last one will be the scale weight coming down. But again, as we've said in the beginning, potentially it will come down, to be honest. I like to manage expectations, but it will come down. And if that's progressing down, you're in a very, very sweet spot. So you're going to run this for 6 weeks and get the metabolism in a good, strong, healthy position, and then allow yourself to go into a greater deficit. Now, at the next point of the greater deficit, you can take this pretty much all the way to a 0.7, and you could drop at a 600 calorie deficit. Or what I would probably do is I'd go to 5 first. So where I'm at 200, I'd take another 200 calories off, and I would staircase my way down rather than making a big jump too fast just to try and see quick results. I would rather you took a slower approach and got there slower, but your training quality was maintained all the way throughout. Training stimulus is the most important factor when it comes to body recomposition, because if you don't train and you just diet, you're just going to end up small and skinny, and that's the long and short of it is. And you already don't have much muscle, hence the fact that we're terming this as skinny fat. So we need to drive enough performance in the gym through food, and that way we can change the balance of the body composition. So now going back to our slide. Before we do, I just want to address, if you're thinking, well, what do I actually eat? Here's a guide on what I would suggest. So you've got your protein options, and you're looking at anywhere from tuna, raw turkey, raw chicken, obviously not eaten raw, but they're the options, whey protein powder, egg whites, white fish, yogurt, 5% beef. It wants to be only 5% because it's going to be higher in calories versus the chicken. Smoked salmon, raw salmon fillet, and you get these protein bars as like a last thing, maybe late in the evening. Honestly, when you're dieting down, stick to whole foods, just because you're not eating that much volume of food, so you want max nutrients. Carb sources, so you're looking rice, forms of dry fruit, bread, jasmine rice, sweet potato, white potato, bananas, pastas, oats, cereal, bagels. And then onto fat sources, you're going to mainly stick with, and this will be up for debate, you can have avocados, nuts, dark chocolate, olive oils, and olives. Stay away from olive oils, to tell you the truth. Not enough volume in the amount of calories it's costing to have them. And then your fibre, you're looking at the fruit and veg to use from there. And then the last thing you're going to want to set up is your training program. Now, the answer to how much you should train will determine on your training age. If you're brand spanking new to training, 3-day full body split, absolutely fine. A little bit newer, maybe trained a year to 18 months, go to 4-day split where it's full body push, full body pull, repeat that times 2. And if you can do 5 days, you've been training over 18 months, go to my channel. You'll see I've done a video on Junk Volume Explained. It was the last video, and that'll give you a program which you can actually follow. There's a 5-day training split geared towards building an aesthetic of a body. It's the one I use for the majority of my clients. So from there, you've got all the things set up for step 1. In the phases then, there are 6 phases. Phase 1 being the first 6 weeks, just below maintenance, and we spoke about why that is. Phase 2 is to then take you from that point into the deficit. Remember, you're going to drop 200 calories, or you're going to increase through output in order to drop 1 kilo a week until you get down to that goal. You'll know you've hit the goal when you're 8 to 10% body fat. You will have built some muscle over this. In this guy's example, it would have been anywhere from 14 to 20 weeks. You will have built some muscle during this, so you won't look completely flat and skinny. However, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to fix the skinny fat. At this point, you won't be fat, you will be lean, you will look the best you've ever looked in your life, to tell you the truth. And that's only really 4 to 5 months of work away. So that should quite actually, excite you that, fuck, I'm in shit state now, but I'm going to be in a lot better nick come just 5 months of solidly dialing in the variables. Now, after that, you're going to look to reverse your way out of it. So in the first 4 weeks from finishing the diet, you're going to look to slowly add 250 calories back to the target until we hit to your maintenance. You're going to sit at that. Now you're in a prime position now to go into a gaining phase where the sole goal will be to improve the numbers in the gym week on week on week on week, along with solid technique, performance, range of motion, good tempo, all the good stuff that we speak about on this channel. And you're going to look to gain anywhere from 15 to 20 kilos. So you're going to sit in that off season for a long, long time. A minimum of 6, 8, 9 months, depends how long you can really stomach it before you need that mini cut. But notice how phase 5 will consist of a mini cut. This will be shaving off any fat we gained in the gaining phase. But unlike the 20-week deficit we had to go into to recomp you in the first place and do a lot of the legwork from a body fat perspective, during this whole time of, let's say, this was 20 weeks, this was another, so 24 weeks, and then add on top of that 6 to 8 months, you had almost like a year's worth of training at this point. So you now built a fair amount of muscle. Now at this point, you go into a mini cut, your body fat is going to be lower than what it was when you started because you're not going to get all the way back to 25% again, fuck me. And then you will carry more muscle, so it'll be easier to get leaner. So the mini cut should only really take 8, 10 weeks. And then that'll be you, and you'll be an absolutely different human being in pretty much a year to 18 months. So like you look at it like this, within 20 weeks, you can see drastic change to your physique during the recomp phase. Like if you look at the results that we get here, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks, 12 weeks, 12, 9, 10, 12, 8, 16, 16, 20. So all like within this amount of time, you can look fucking great. Do you know what I mean? And then you just to show you what the full process would look like, something like this. So let's say you start out like this. This guy's a bit leaner than 25%. Obviously, he's more around 20. Maybe that's more relatable to where you're starting at, actually. You need to cut down to the 8 to 10% mark. You go into a gaining phase, then you do your mini cut at the end. And this is you full transition. This is 13 months of work. And you can look pretty darn fucking good in 13 months. So I hope, really, when you see this, it just gives you an idea that getting in shape is not this magical thing that's so far out of reach and only the top 10% of people can do. It's honestly just, can you be consistent for a year? Can you follow the formula that works for a year? Which, honestly, just follow what I've said in here and you'll get the results that I get. And just stick to it long term. And honestly, if you can do all those things, you're going to get in good shape. That's a fact. But most people aren't willing to stick at it long term. Don't start in the fucking first place because it's difficult, because they don't know what they're doing. Because to be fair, a lot of people aren't just going to tell you the exact guide in a nonchalant way that I do, like, yeah, and just do this and this will get results. But honestly, I fucking love talking about this shit. This is what's on my channel. And this is ultimately what I love to talk about. So yeah, it's honestly a year's worth of work and you can look like an absolutely different human being. So I hope this has really just given you a good insight. So if you like what was spoke about in this video, again, I wanted this to be as short and as punchy, to the point as possible. If you found it was, and you gained value from it, subscribe. And if you want me to take you through the full process like this, then there'll be links in the description. And I'll see you in the next one.